Close your eyes. It's September 1992. San Francisco, California. A second-floor apartment in the Mission District, cluttered with pizza boxes and stacks of technical papers. Outside, the fog rolls in off the bay. Inside, 30 people are crammed around folding tables, arguing about something most of the world has never heard of. Cryptography. Not the kind used by spies in Cold War movies. Something bigger. Something they believe could change everything. Eric Hughes is 26 years old, a Berkeley mathematician with a beard that hasn't been trimmed in months. He looks around the room at the hackers, the physicists, the lawyers, the libertarians, and he feels something that is hard to name. He feels like they are building a weapon, not one that kills, one that hides. Within a decade, the tools being discussed in rooms like this one would become the backbone of the internet. Encrypted email, anonymous browsing, digital cash, Bitcoin itself. None of them knew it yet, but they were about to start a revolution. Chapter 1 awaits. In the early 1990s, a quiet revolution was brewing in the dimly lit living rooms and cluttered basements of San Francisco's tech enthusiasts. They were known as the Cypherpunks, an eclectic group of mathematicians, computer scientists, libertarians, and visionaries. Their mission was both radical and transformative: to use cryptography as a tool for ensuring privacy and personal freedom in the digital age. The world at that time was on the brink of a technological explosion. The internet was beginning to weave its intricate web, connecting people across the globe in ways previously unimaginable. Yet with connectivity came new challenges and concerns over privacy and surveillance. The cypherpunks saw what many others did not: the looming shadow of government control over personal data. Among them was Eric Hughes, a mathematician whose keen interest in security and privacy would make him a central figure in the movement. Hughes believed that only through encryption could individuals maintain their autonomy in a rapidly digitizing world. Privacy is necessary for an open society in the electronic age, he would later write in his 1993 A Cypherpunks Manifesto, a document that would become foundational to the group's philosophy. Timothy C. May, a former physicist at Intel, shared Hughes's vision. He was drawn to the potential of cryptography to undermine authorities who sought to control the flow of information. May's radical ideas were shaped by his experiences at Intel, where he witnessed firsthand the intersection of technology and power. He foresaw a future where encryption would be a necessary defense against the encroaching eyes of the state. John Gilmore, another key figure, was a computer programmer and one of the founders of the Electronic Frontier Foundation. He was deeply committed to civil liberties and saw the internet as a new frontier that needed to be kept free from government overreach. Gilmore's home in San Francisco became a regular meeting place for the cypherpunks, where they would gather to discuss strategies and share ideas. But the roots of the cypherpunk movement trace back even further, to the revolutionary development of public key cryptography in the 1970s. Whitfield Diffie and Martin Hellman, two pioneers in this field, published their groundbreaking paper in 1976. It introduced the concept of public key cryptography, a method that would allow secure communication between parties without the need for a shared secret. This innovation laid the groundwork for the encryption technologies that the cypherpunks would later champion. The U.S. government, however, viewed cryptography as a double-edged sword. On one hand, it was essential for national security, integral to the signals intelligence that had become central post-World War II. On the other, it posed a potential threat to that same security if it fell into the wrong hands. As a result, cryptographic technology was classified alongside munitions. The government imposed strict export controls, requiring licenses for the international distribution of cryptographic software. In the midst of this tension, the cypherpunks saw an opportunity. They believed that strong cryptography should not be restricted to governments and corporations, but should be accessible to individuals as well. They envisioned a world where encryption would empower people to protect their personal data from prying eyes. Their efforts coalesced in September 1992, when Eric Hughes, Timothy C. May, and John Gilmore convened a meeting in San Francisco. It was a turning point, a moment that would cement their commitment to the cause and lead to the formation of the cypherpunk movement. The term cypherpunk, a blend of cipher and cyberpunk, captured their dual focus on cryptographic technology and a rebellious spirit. The cypherpunk mailing list soon emerged as the central hub for their discussions. It became a vibrant forum where members exchanged ideas, debated technical challenges, and shared their latest work. Participants came from diverse backgrounds, bringing with them a wealth of perspectives and expertise. One of the most significant contributions of the cypherpunks was their development of software tools for encryption. They worked tirelessly to create applications that would make strong encryption accessible to anyone with a computer. Their commitment to these tools was unwavering. It was a direct challenge to the government's attempts to control the spread of cryptographic technology. This period marked the beginning of what would later be known as the Crypto Wars. The cypherpunks' efforts to democratize encryption put them on a collision course with the U.S. government. Legal battles ensued, each one testing the limits of free speech and the right to privacy in the digital age. As public awareness of these issues grew, so did the influence of the cypherpunks. Their work laid the foundation for many of today's privacy-enhancing technologies. They were among the first to grasp the profound implications of digital communication on personal freedom. The legacy of the cypherpunks extends far beyond their immediate achievements. Their movement set the stage for a broader conversation about privacy, security, and the role of technology in society. In an era where data is often referred to as the new oil, their insights remain as relevant as ever. As we delve deeper into the history of the cypherpunks, we will uncover more about the cryptographic innovations that defined this era. We will explore the challenges they faced, the battles they fought, and the impact they had on the world. Chapter 2 will take us into the mathematics of secrets, where the seeds of their revolution were first sown. The story of cryptography, much like any tale of the deeply human quest for knowledge, begins long before the age of silicon and code. It's rooted in the ancient dance between secrecy and discovery, a delicate balance struck over centuries. In the 1970s, this dance took a transformational turn. Whitfield Diffie and Martin Hellman, two names now etched into the annals of cryptographic history, were pivotal to this shift. Diffie, a visionary computer scientist, teamed with Hellman, a theoretical engineer, to address a problem as old as communication itself: how to communicate securely without meeting in person. Their breakthrough, public key cryptography, introduced a revolutionary method for secure digital communication. This concept was first publicly introduced in their seminal paper, New Directions in Cryptography, published in 1976. They proposed a system that allowed individuals to encrypt messages using a public key, which could only be decrypted by a matching private key held by the recipient. This innovation meant that secure communication could occur over insecure channels without prior exchange of secret keys. Their work emerged during a time when the Cold War's shadow loomed large, a period when signals intelligence was not just a strategic advantage, but a cornerstone of national security. The U.S. government's scrutiny of cryptographic developments was thus intense. Cryptographic software was treated as munitions, subject to strict export regulations akin to weapons of war. By the early 1990s, as personal computing began to seep into the public consciousness, the potential power of cryptography started to attract broader attention. It was within this climate of burgeoning technological promise and governmental oversight that the cypherpunks emerged. In the fall of 1992, in a modest living room in San Francisco, three individuals gathered to discuss the burgeoning potential and challenges of cryptography. Eric Hughes, a mathematician with a penchant for privacy; Timothy C. May, a former Intel physicist with libertarian leanings; and John Gilmore, a computer programmer and co-founder of the Electronic Frontier Foundation, laid the groundwork for what would become a global movement. They were united by a shared belief that cryptography was a powerful tool for personal freedom and privacy in the digital age. In their view, strong encryption was not just for governments and corporations, but should be accessible to individuals. Their discussions gave birth to the cypherpunk movement, a name that combined the cryptographic term cipher with cyberpunk, reflecting both their technical focus and their countercultural ethos. The movement rapidly grew, fueled by the emergence of the cypherpunk mailing list. This list served as a vibrant forum for discussions on cryptography, privacy, and politics. It became a crucible for ideas, a place where technical debates intertwined with philosophical discourse. Participants from diverse backgrounds, mathematicians, hackers, libertarians, and cryptographers, contributed their insight and expertise. The mailing list catalyzed a wave of innovation, as members shared ideas and leveraged one another's strengths to develop new tools and techniques. They were not just exchanging theoretical concepts, but actively working to create and distribute software that embodied their ideals. One of the most significant contributions to arise from this environment was PGP, or Pretty Good Privacy, an encryption program created by Phil Zimmermann in 1991. Zimmermann's software brought strong encryption capabilities to the masses, enabling individuals to secure their emails and files. PGP's release was a watershed moment. It challenged the U.S. government's restrictive policies on the export of cryptographic software, igniting what would become known as the crypto wars. Zimmermann himself faced legal challenges under the Arms Export Control Act, highlighting the tension between technological advancement and governmental control. Despite these challenges, the cypherpunk movement persisted. Members continued to champion the cause of privacy and personal liberty in the digital age. They believed that encryption was essential not just for personal privacy, but also as a safeguard for democracy and free speech. By 1996, their manifesto, penned by Eric Hughes, succinctly captured their ethos: cypherpunks write code. This simple declaration reflected their commitment to action over rhetoric, focusing on tangible solutions rather than theoretical discussions. The cypherpunks' influence extended beyond technical circles, inspiring a broader dialogue about privacy and security in a connected world. Their work laid the foundation for modern debates about encryption, surveillance, and personal data protection. As the 21st century approached, the seeds planted by the cypherpunks were beginning to bear fruit. Their ideas influenced the development of secure communication technologies and contributed to a growing awareness of the importance of digital privacy. The movement's legacy is evident in the technologies we take for granted today, from secure messaging apps to encrypted online transactions. These innovations owe much to the vision and persistence of those early pioneers who foresaw the critical role of cryptography in protecting individual freedoms. Yet, the story of the cypherpunks is not merely one of technical triumph. It is also a deeply human tale of conviction, collaboration, and the relentless pursuit of a vision for a freer, more private world. As we continue this journey, we will explore the conflicts and challenges that define the crypto wars of the 1990s. The next chapter delves into the tense standoff between the cypherpunks and governmental authorities, a battle that would shape the future of digital privacy. The cypherpunks were not just a group, they were a movement born out of necessity. a reaction to the growing tension between individual privacy and state power. By the early 1990s, the World Wide Web was starting to weave its intricate web, and digital communication was poised to become a dominant force in global interaction. Yet, this digital frontier was fraught with the looming presence of surveillance, particularly by the U.S. government. In 1993, the National Security Agency, NSA, viewed the rise of cryptographic technology as a double-edged sword. While it could safeguard personal information, it also threatened to undermine government efforts to monitor communications in the name of national security. This prompted the U.S. to enforce strict regulations on cryptographic research and exports, treating cryptographic software as munitions under the International Traffic in Arms Regulations, TAR. Software developers faced the same export controls as those who manufactured guns or bombs. This stark reality drove the cypherpunks to act. Eric Hughes, Timothy C. May, and John Gilmore recognized the draconian implications of such regulations. The meeting in the living room of John Gilmore's San Francisco home in September 1992 was crucial. It was here that they realized the power of cryptography lay not just in the mathematics, but in its democratization. Hughes, a mathematician, cryptographer, and staunch advocate for personal privacy, articulated their mission with clarity. His manifesto, a Cypherpunks manifesto, underscored their belief that privacy is essential for an open society in the electronic age. He wrote, "We cannot expect governments, corporations, or other large, faceless organizations to grant us privacy out of their beneficence." These words set the stage for the cypherpunk movement's philosophy and actions. Hughes, May, and Gilmore were intellectually equipped to tackle the challenges of cryptography, but they also needed a platform to spread their ideas. This need birthed the Cypherpunk mailing list, an unassuming digital forum that would become the epicenter of cryptographic discourse. Launched in 1992, the mailing list was a place where individuals from diverse backgrounds could come together, debate fiercely, and collaborate on the development of encryption technologies. It was a sanctuary for radical thought, attracting participants like Phil Zimmermann, creator of Pretty Good Privacy (PGP), who famously risked prosecution for exporting encryption software. By 1994, the list had grown to encompass over 700 active members, with contributors from various corners of the world, each bringing unique perspectives and expertise. The discussions were not always harmonious. They were often heated and polarizing. Yet their collective passion for privacy and freedom drove the movement forward. The idea that cryptographic tools should be accessible to every individual, regardless of technical prowess or geographic boundaries, was revolutionary. This democratization of cryptography was perceived by the cypherpunks as a necessary counterbalance to the overreach of governmental authority. In 1993, the Clipper chip, a device proposed by the U.S. government, symbolized this overreach. The chip was intended to be embedded in telecommunications devices to allow secure communications, but with a built-in backdoor for government access. It was marketed as a means to protect users while ensuring national security. However, the cypherpunks and other privacy advocates saw it as an affront to personal freedom. They argued that any backdoor, regardless of noble intent, was a vulnerability that could be exploited not just by governments, but by malicious actors as well. The opposition to the Clipper chip was fierce and vocal, becoming a rallying point for the cypherpunk movement. Their efforts, alongside other activists and technologists, contributed to the public's growing awareness of digital privacy issues. This increased scrutiny led to the eventual abandonment of the Clipper chip by the mid-1990s, a significant victory for privacy advocates. Yet the battle was far from over. The broader struggle known as the crypto wars of the 1990s saw cypherpunks and other technologists pitted against governmental attempts to regulate and control cryptographic technology. Legal battles ensued, with significant cases like Bernstein v. United States challenging the status quo. Daniel J. Bernstein, a graduate student at the University of California, Berkeley, sued the government over its restrictions, arguing that software code was a form of speech protected by the First Amendment. In 1999, after years of litigation, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in Bernstein's favor, a landmark decision that reshaped the landscape of cryptographic law. The ruling declared that source code is indeed a form of expressive speech, thus granting it First Amendment protection. This decision was a watershed moment for the Cypherpunks, affirming the ideological foundation of their movement and legitimizing their efforts. Their work resonated beyond legal victories, influencing a generation of technologists and privacy advocates. The cypherpunk ethos, encapsulated by the belief that cypherpunks write code, inspired practical solutions to theoretical discussions. Phil Zimmermann's PGP, for example, became one of the most widely used email encryption programs globally. By making encryption accessible, Zimmermann reflected the core cypherpunk principle that technology should empower individuals. The movement's influence extended into the realm of digital currencies, foreshadowing innovations that would emerge years later. In the late 1990s, early concepts of digital cash, privacy-respecting online currencies, and decentralized systems were hot topics on the mailing list. Figures like David Chaum, who invented digital cash and advocated for anonymity technologies, were frequently discussed. These ideas laid the groundwork for future developments, including the anonymous digital currency Bitcoin, introduced in 2009 by the mysterious figure Satoshi Nakamoto. The cypherpunk movement was not merely a reaction to government policies. It was a proactive force that anticipated the future. They envisioned a world where individuals could communicate freely and privately, shielded from prying eyes, whether corporate or governmental. Their vision of privacy was not about hiding, but about maintaining autonomy in a rapidly digitizing world. As the new millennium dawned, the seeds they had sown began to sprout in unexpected ways, influencing not just technology, but broader cultural and political dialogues around privacy and freedom. The trajectory of the cypherpunks exemplified a profound understanding of the interplay between technology and society. Their foresight and diligence ensured that the principles of privacy and freedom would remain intertwined with the future of digital communication. As we look ahead, the legacy of the cypherpunk movement serves as both a foundation and a beacon for navigating the challenges of our digital age. In the next chapter, we will delve into the pivotal moments that solidified the cypherpunk legacy and explore their lasting impact on modern technology and privacy. In the next chapter, we will delve into the pivotal moments that solidified the cypherpunk legacy and explore their lasting impact on modern technology and privacy. September 1992 marked a quiet yet significant gathering in a San Francisco living room. Here, Eric Hughes, Timothy C. May, and John Gilmore convened to discuss a shared vision. Their mission was clear: to empower individuals with the tools of cryptography. This meeting, in many ways casual and informal, was the turning point for what would become the cypherpunk movement. It was not only about technology, but about redefining personal freedom in the digital age. The backdrop to their meeting was a world rapidly shifting towards digital communications. As government restrictions tightened around cryptographic research, the need for a counter-movement became pressing. The U.S. government's classification of cryptographic algorithms as munitions underlined their perceived threat. This classification meant that cryptographic software required export licenses, treating it on par with physical weapons. The cypherpunks saw this as an inherent contradiction to the freedom promised by the digital age. Hughes, May, and Gilmore were not alone in their concerns. Across the globe, mathematicians, hackers, and libertarians were awakening to the potential of cryptography. They envisioned a world where encryption was not a privilege, but a fundamental right. The cypherpunk mailing list soon became a crucible for these ideas. It was a place where anyone, regardless of geography or background, could contribute to the discussion. The atmosphere on the mailing list was electric. Ideas clashed and converged as participants explored the boundaries of cryptographic potential. One of the mailing list's pivotal moments was the introduction of PGP, Pretty Good Privacy, by Phil Zimmermann in 1991. PGP allowed individuals to encrypt their emails, making digital privacy accessible beyond academic and governmental circles. Zimmermann's action was a direct challenge to governmental controls, sparking legal battles that underscored the tensions of the era. In 1993, Eric Hughes penned a Cypherpunks manifesto, articulating the ethos of the movement. He wrote, "Privacy is necessary for an open society in the electronic age." This manifesto became a rallying cry, emphasizing the moral and intellectual importance of their mission. Hughes argued that cryptography was not merely a tool, but a shield, essential for preserving humanity in the face of an increasingly surveilled world. But the path was fraught with challenges. The mid-1990s saw the intensification of the crypto wars, a series of government efforts to limit the spread and potency of encryption tools. The Clipper chip proposal of 1993 was emblematic of these efforts. It aimed to embed a government-accessible backdoor into encryption products, ostensibly for law enforcement purposes. However, the proposal was met with fierce resistance, with cypherpunks leading the charge in public discourse against such intrusions. Their arguments highlighted the danger of creating vulnerabilities in digital communications. They warned that any backdoor accessible by the government could equally be exploited by malicious actors. The Clipper chip debate became a turning point, fostering public awareness about the stakes of digital privacy. The period from 1993 to 1996 was marked by intense legal and ideological battles. Cypherpunks were often portrayed as subversives, challenging the establishment with their radical ideas. Yet, their insistence on the right to privacy resonated with many who were growing wary of unchecked governmental powers. The legal battles were not just about the use of encryption, but about the very notion of privacy in a digital future. During this time, the cypherpunk community expanded beyond its original trio to include influential figures like Julian Assange and Hal Finney. Assange, who would later gain notoriety with WikiLeaks, was an early proponent of the transparency cryptography could foster. Meanwhile, Finney became known for his contributions to the development of cryptographic protocols. Each new voice added depth to the movement, reinforcing their commitment to creating an equitable digital landscape. The cypherpunks' efforts began to bear tangible results by the late 1990s. In 1996, the U.S. government eased some of the restrictions on cryptographic software exports, acknowledging the technology's global proliferation and economic importance. This decision was a tacit acknowledgement of the limitations of controlling information in a connected world. However, these concessions did not signal the end of the struggle. The emergence of the Internet as a dominant communication platform brought new challenges and opportunities. Cypherpunks turned their attention to developing tools that would secure this new frontier. Projects like Tor, a network enabling anonymous communication, were born out of this era's pressing need for privacy. The cypherpunk legacy is not just about technological innovations, but about the philosophical debates they ignited. They forced society to confront uncomfortable questions about the balance between security and privacy. Their work laid the foundation for contemporary debates around data protection and digital rights. As we move into the 21st century, the cypherpunk influence is evident in the rise of cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin, introduced in 2009, is a direct descendant of their ideas, promoting financial autonomy and challenging traditional banking systems. These developments continue to shape global discussions on the future of privacy and control. The efforts of Hughes, May, Gilmore, and their contemporaries have transcended their original context, becoming central to understanding our digital present. Their vision for a free and private digital world remains as relevant today as it was over 2 decades ago. In the next chapter, we will explore the enduring influence of the cypherpunks' work on today's cybersecurity landscape. We will look at how their foundational ideas permeate modern technology and policy, challenging us to rethink our relationship with digital information. As 1993 dawned, the cypherpunk mailing list was no longer a whisper among a few like-minded colleagues. It had surged into a cacophony of voices, each contributing to the slowly unfurling narrative of digital freedom. The list, an unassuming thread of digital conversations, had become an incubator for the ideas and ideals that would challenge the very foundations of governmental control over technology. Spanning continents and time zones, this network was an eclectic mix of anarchists, libertarians, programmers, and privacy advocates. They sought to reclaim personal privacy in the digital age, one line of code at a time. The mailing list was formally kicked off in September 1992, but by January, it was clear that something significant was brewing. On the surface, it was just an email list. Beneath, it was a crucible where ideas clashed and fused, igniting sparks that would illuminate the path to the future. The cypherpunks did not merely dream of a world where individuals could communicate without eavesdropping by governments or corporations. They began to lay the groundwork for this reality. They exchanged algorithms like PGP, which stood for Pretty Good Privacy, developed by Phil Zimmermann in 1991. It was a tool that embodied the cypherpunk ethos, robust, free, and available to all. Zimmermann's work drew sharp attention from the U.S. government, which saw strong encryption as a threat potentially crippling their surveillance capabilities. In 1993, this tension reached a fever pitch. The National Security Agency, custodian of American signals intelligence, viewed cryptography through a narrow lens, as a weapon. The Cold War had entrenched the idea that control over cryptography meant control over information, and information was power. To export cryptographic software was, in the eyes of the U.S. government, akin to exporting arms. Hence, software like PGP faced significant legal hurdles. Zimmermann himself was investigated by a grand jury. His crime was sharing his encryption software with the world. Yet, as government scrutiny intensified, the cypherpunks grew more resolute. On the mailing list, names like Hal Finney, Jude Milhon, and Perry Metzger became synonymous with relentless innovation and debate. Finney, a quiet yet fierce advocate, was one of the first to adopt and promote PGP. Milhon, known by her moniker St. Jude, combined her hacker skills with a visionary zeal for civil liberties. Metzger, meanwhile, was both a provocateur and a pragmatist, pushing the boundaries of what cryptographic technology could achieve. Each of these individuals brought their unique strengths to the table, fueling the cypherpunk engine. While encryption was the central pillar, the discussions often veered into philosophical territories, questioning the very nature of privacy and the role of the state. The intensity of discourse was matched only by the diversity of its contributors. Eric Hughes, who had become a de facto spokesperson for the group, summarized their vision in his seminal essay, A Cypherpunks Manifesto, written in 1993. "Privacy is necessary for an open society in the electronic age," he declared, articulating the core belief that privacy should not be a privilege granted by the state, but a fundamental human right. Hughes's manifesto was a rallying cry, awakening scores of quiet rebels who aligned with the cypherpunk vision. One compelling story from the list involved a debate about the efficacy and ethics of digital cash. This conversation planted seeds for what would, years later, bloom into the cryptocurrency revolution. The idea was simple yet profound: a currency that operated outside the control of any government or central bank. Sham's Digicash was often cited, a prototype for what many hoped would become a new form of money untethered from state control. Conversations around these topics were not just academic exercises. They were blueprints for a new world order. In the spring of 1993, the Cypherpunks organized physical meetups, transforming virtual discussions into tangible collaborations. These gatherings were akin to modern-day hackathons. In crowded rooms in San Francisco's Silicon Valley, ideas that began as text on a screen took shape in code and circuitry. It was at these meetups that the first whispers of a crypto-anarchist world began to take a more structured form. The attendees, fueled by copious amounts of coffee and the unyielding belief in their mission, debated how technology could undermine traditional power structures. The gatherings were informal, yet charged with a sense of purpose. In a rented room on the Stanford campus in March 1993, a group of cypherpunks worked late into the night. They exchanged not just ideas but snippets of code, prototypes of encryption tools that could potentially bypass government-imposed limitations. These sessions often ran long, filled with a mixture of idealistic fervor and technical rigor. In these rooms, a sense of camaraderie and shared destiny took hold, as each participant contributed to a cause larger than themselves. But it was not without its challenges. The cypherpunks faced growing external pressures as government agencies increased their scrutiny. The fear of legal repercussions loomed large, as did the threat of their work being co-opted or shut down altogether. Yet, even in the face of such adversity, the group persisted, driven by a belief in the righteousness of their cause. They understood that what they were building could alter the balance between individual autonomy and state control. This belief fortified them against the mounting pressures, enabling them to push forward even when the path was fraught with obstacles. By the end of 1993, the cypherpunks had not only survived, but thrived. Their mailing list had grown from a niche interest group into a vibrant community of innovators and thinkers. Software tools began to emerge, crafted in the crucible of collaborative debate. As the year closed, the cracks in the wall of governmental control over cryptography had begun to show, and with each passing day, the cypherpunks could sense that they were standing on the brink of something monumental. In the next chapter, we will explore how these pioneers continued to press forward, their resolve undampened, as they navigated the turbulent waters of the mid-1990s. As the cypherpunk movement gathered momentum, the vision of making cryptography accessible to all began to materialize in remarkable ways. In the early 1990s, this journey was marked by passionate debates, technical innovations, and an unwavering dedication to personal privacy. One of the most iconic projects that emerged from this ethos was Pretty Good Privacy, or PGP, an encryption software developed by Phil Zimmermann in 1991. Zimmermann, a computer scientist in Boulder, Colorado, dedicated months of tireless work to create a tool that would democratize cryptography. PGP was a testament to the cypherpunks' belief in empowering individuals through technology. By making strong encryption available to anyone with a computer, they hoped to instill a sense of security in a burgeoning digital world. At the time, the internet was becoming a public space where digital communication thrived, yet it was also vulnerable to surveillance. With PGP, Zimmermann sought to place the keys of privacy right into the hands of the public. Released as freeware, PGP quickly spread across borders, much to the alarm of the U.S. government. In those days, the export of cryptographic software was heavily regulated, treated as a munition under the International Traffic in Arms regulations. The government feared that powerful encryption tools might fall into the hands of adversarial states or criminal entities. As a result, Zimmerman found himself under investigation by the U.S. Customs Service in 1993, facing potential charges for the unlicensed export of cryptographic software. These legal challenges were emblematic of the broader crypto wars that unfolded during this era. The cypherpunks found themselves at the forefront of a battle between individual freedom and government control, a modern struggle that echoed the ideological battles of the Cold War. Their opposition was formidable, a government wary of losing its grip on national security in an increasingly digital age. Yet the cypherpunks were not without allies. Within the burgeoning tech communities of Silicon Valley and beyond, support for strong encryption grew. Academics, engineers, and activists rallied around the cause, organizing to thwart what they saw as an overreach of governmental power. It was during this tumultuous time that the Electronic Frontier Foundation, EFF, emerged as a critical player. Founded by John Gilmore, Mitch Kapor, and John Perry Barlow, the EFF provided legal aid to those embroiled in these digital rights conflicts, including Zimmerman. The tension reached a crescendo during the mid-1990s as the government proposed the Clipper chip, an encryption device with a built-in backdoor for law enforcement access. Envisioned as a compromise between privacy and security, the Clipper chip became a lightning rod for criticism. Cypherpunks and civil libertarians argued that any backdoor inherently weakened the security of the system, leaving it vulnerable to misuse. These debates were not confined to academic or hacker circles, but spilled into the broader public discourse. In 1994, a pivotal moment arrived when Whitfield Diffie, one of the pioneers of public key cryptography, testified before the U.S. Senate Judiciary Subcommittee on Technology and the Law. His testimony underscored the technical flaws of the Clipper chip and articulated the risks associated with compromising encryption. Diffie's words resonated in the halls of power, highlighting a fundamental truth. True security could not coexist with built-in vulnerabilities. His advocacy contributed to the eventual abandonment of the Clipper chip in 1996. Despite this victory, the struggle was far from over. The U.S. government continued to enforce strict controls on encryption exports, prompting a new wave of innovation. In response, cypherpunks and privacy advocates sought creative strategies to bypass these restrictions. Some cleverly embedded their cryptographic software in books, exploiting a loophole that allowed the free dissemination of written material. In 1995, a book titled Applied Cryptography by Bruce Schneier became an essential resource, widely distributed in academia and hacker communities alike. This era also witnessed the rise of digital currencies, a concept nurtured within cypherpunk discussions. In 1998, Wei Dai introduced B-Money, a proposal for an anonymous, distributed electronic cash system. Its development was followed by Nick Szabo's BitGold, a similar concept that hinted at the future of decentralized finance. These ideas laid the groundwork for what would eventually evolve into Bitcoin, a testament to the cypherpunks' foresight in imagining the role of cryptography in reshaping financial transactions. The late 1990s marked a turning point as public sentiment shifted towards favoring strong encryption. In 1999, the U.S. government relaxed its encryption export regulations, acknowledging the growing importance of secure digital communication in the global economy. This policy change was a significant win for the cypherpunk movement, validating years of advocacy and innovation. It demonstrated that a dedicated community of technologists and activists could challenge entrenched power structures and effect meaningful change. Yet the fight for digital privacy was an ongoing journey. As the new millennium dawned, the cypherpunks faced emerging challenges from corporations seeking to monetize personal data and governments eager to expand their surveillance capabilities in the wake of September 11, 2001. The landscape of digital rights was evolving, requiring constant vigilance and adaptation from those who valued privacy. In this ever-shifting terrain, the legacy of the cypherpunks endured, inspiring new generations of thinkers and activists to continue the quest for a secure digital future. As we close this chapter, we stand at the intersection of past battles and future possibilities. The lessons learned from the cypherpunks' struggles serve as a guiding light for navigating the complexities of digital privacy in our interconnected world. In the next chapter, we will delve deeper into the legacy and impact of the cypherpunk movement, exploring how their visionary efforts continue to influence contemporary debates around technology and freedom. Their story is not merely one of technological innovation, but a testament to the power of collective action in challenging the status quo. It reminds us that even in the face of formidable opposition, a small group of committed individuals can indeed change the world. With this enduring spirit, we turn the page to uncover how these digital revolutionaries laid the groundwork for the privacy debates that shape our world today. With this enduring spirit, we turn the page to uncover how these digital revolutionaries laid the groundwork for the privacy debates that shape our world today. The story of the cypherpunks did not end with the resolution of the crypto wars in the late 1990s. Instead, their influence reverberated through the halls of technology and policymaking, setting the stage for modern debates on privacy and surveillance. The legacy of the cypherpunks is a tapestry woven with strands of technological innovation, political activism, and philosophical inquiry. The late 1990s saw a shift in how cryptography was perceived, marking a departure from the contentious battles that characterized the earlier part of the decade. In 1999, the U.S. government significantly relaxed its restrictions on the export of encryption software, a move that was seen as a victory for privacy advocates. Phil Zimmermann, the creator of Pretty Good Privacy, PGP encryption, no longer faced the threat of prosecution. This policy change acknowledged the growing importance of encryption in the global digital economy. Yet, the seeds of debate sown by the cypherpunks continued to sprout in new fields of discourse. The dawn of the 21st century brought with it a digital revolution, one that rapidly changed how individuals interacted with technology and each other. Online platforms like Facebook, launched in 2004, and Twitter in 2006, reshaped social communication, raising new questions about privacy and data security. These platforms amassed vast amounts of personal data, prompting concerns about how such data might be used or misused. In the background, the principles championed by the cypherpunks simmered quietly, reminding us of the need for vigilance in safeguarding personal information. The ideas of figures like Eric Hughes and Timothy C. may became more relevant than ever as society grappled with the implications of living life online. Their mantra, "Privacy is necessary for an open society in the electronic age," became a guiding principle for privacy advocates worldwide. The echoes of their work informed new generations of technologists and policymakers, urging them to consider the ethical dimensions of digital progress. The cypherpunk vision did not merely influence debates on privacy, it also catalyzed the development of technologies that underpin our digital world. Bitcoin, introduced in 2009 by the pseudonymous Satoshi Nakamoto, stands as a testament to this influence. The cypherpunk mailing list had long been a forum for discussing the idea of digital cash, a concept that aimed to harness cryptographic principles to create secure, decentralized currency systems. Bitcoin's architecture, with its reliance on cryptographic techniques, owes a debt to the intellectual groundwork laid by the cypherpunks. As Bitcoin gained traction, questions about the balance between privacy and transparency resurfaced in new forms. Cryptocurrencies promised anonymity, a key concern for digital privacy advocates, but also faced scrutiny from regulatory bodies worried about misuse. The ongoing dialogue between privacy advocates and regulatory authorities mirrored the earlier crypto wars, highlighting the persistent tension between freedom and control. Yet even as regulations evolved, the foundational work of the cypherpunks ensured that privacy remained a central consideration in the development of digital currencies. Beyond cryptography and digital currencies, the cypherpunk legacy can be seen in the rise of open-source software. Software like Tor, which protects user identities and activities, embodies the ethos of the movement by empowering individuals through technology. The development of Tor was directly influenced by cypherpunk ideals, offering a tool for secure communication in an increasingly monitored world. It serves as a reminder that the struggle for privacy is ongoing, demanding perpetual vigilance and innovation. The cypherpunks also left a significant imprint on the legal landscape, influencing key court decisions related to digital privacy. In cases like the 2015 landmark ruling on the legality of NSA surveillance programs, the arguments echoed those made by early privacy advocates. These legal battles underscored the importance of encryption as a critical component of modern civil liberties, reshaping how privacy is viewed in the digital era. Through their pioneering efforts, the cypherpunks elevated encryption from a niche interest to a fundamental pillar of democracy. Despite their successes, the cypherpunks were not without contradictions. Their commitment to privacy sometimes conflicted with the realities of national security and law enforcement needs. Yet these tensions are what make their story compelling, a narrative of individuals striving to navigate the complex interplay of freedom, technology, and power. Their journey offers a lens through which we can examine our present challenges, reminding us of the enduring struggle to maintain privacy in a connected world. The cypherpunk movement, at its heart, was about more than just privacy. It was about empowerment. It was about giving individuals the tools to control their own digital lives, free from unwarranted intrusion or oversight. This vision continues to inspire, guiding efforts to create technologies that prioritize user autonomy and protection. As we reflect on their contributions, we realize they were not only inventors of technology, but architects of a new consciousness about our digital existence. In considering their legacy, we are prompted to ask ourselves how much privacy we are willing to sacrifice in exchange for convenience. The cypherpunks challenged us to question, to scrutinize the structures that govern our digital lives, and to demand better. Their story is a call to action, a reminder that the fight for digital privacy is far from over. As we face new challenges in an ever-evolving technological landscape, their insights provide both guidance and a cautionary tale. Looking to the future, the cypherpunk ethos encourages us to continue exploring innovative solutions to privacy concerns. The development of new technologies, from artificial intelligence to quantum computing, presents both opportunities and risks. By applying the lessons of the past, we can strive to create a digital world that respects individual privacy while embracing progress. The pursuit of this balance will define the next chapter in the ongoing quest for privacy and freedom in the digital age. In conclusion, the cypherpunks' impact is profound and multifaceted, extending well beyond the confines of cryptography. Their legacy is a testament to the power of ideas and the importance of standing up for one's beliefs in the face of adversity. As we navigate the complexities of our digital future, we carry with us the lessons they imparted, the belief that privacy is a right worth defending. This journey is far from over, and as we look to the horizon, we find ourselves poised to explore further, propelled by their indomitable spirit. The next chapter will delve into how emerging technologies challenge and redefine the boundaries of privacy and security in our interconnected world. The next chapter will delve into how emerging technologies challenge and redefine the boundaries of privacy and security in our interconnected world. The cypherpunks, those digital rebels of the 1990s, not only foresaw these challenges, but actively sought to address them with cryptography as their weapon of choice. As their influence spread, the implications of their work began to ripple through the technology landscape. The 1990s were a pivotal era, marked by rapid technological advancements and an increasing reliance on digital communication. Amid this backdrop, the concept of privacy was undergoing a profound transformation. The internet, still in its nascent stage, was becoming a powerful tool for communication and commerce. However, it also became evident that this new digital frontier was fraught with vulnerabilities. In 1993, Wired magazine published an article titled "Crypto Rebels," casting a spotlight on the cypherpunks and their mission to ensure digital privacy in an increasingly surveilled society. The article highlighted figures like Eric Hughes, who famously declared, "Privacy is necessary for an open society in the electronic age." His words resonated with many who were growing concerned about the potential for government overreach in cyberspace. The cypherpunks' efforts coincided with the burgeoning information economy, where data was becoming an invaluable asset. Companies and governments alike were eager to harness this power, often at the expense of individual privacy. In 1994, Netscape Communications introduced the Secure Sockets Layer (SSL) protocol, a significant advancement in internet security that relied heavily on encryption principles advocated by the cypherpunks. SSL made online transactions safer, laying the groundwork for the explosion of e-commerce. This development was a testament to the cypherpunks' vision: encryption as a fundamental tool for securing digital interactions. The impact of the cypherpunks extended beyond technical innovations to influence legislative and cultural landscapes. The early 1990s saw intense debates over the Clipper chip, a government-backed initiative to embed a surveillance-friendly cryptography standard in communication devices. The proposal sparked a fierce backlash from privacy advocates, with the cypherpunks at the forefront of the resistance. They argued that such measures would weaken security and violate constitutional rights. Phil Zimmermann, a pivotal figure in this debate, developed Pretty Good Privacy, PGP, an encryption program that allowed anyone to protect the privacy of their emails. Released in 1991, PGP quickly became the de facto standard for secure communication. Zimmermann's work exemplified the cypherpunks' ethos, empowering individuals to safeguard their own data. However, his efforts also attracted the attention of the U.S. government, which launched a criminal investigation against him for allegedly violating export restrictions on cryptographic software. Zimmermann's case was emblematic of the larger struggle between individual freedoms and state control in the digital age. After 3 years of legal battles, the investigation was dropped in 1996, a symbolic victory for the cypherpunk cause. This period, often referred to as the Crypto Wars, underscored the adversarial relationship between privacy advocates and government authorities. While the cypherpunks celebrated these judicial victories, they were acutely aware of the ongoing need to defend digital rights. As the new millennium approached, the cypherpunks' influence began to permeate emerging technologies. The open source movement, for example, embraced the ideals of transparency and shared knowledge that were central to the cypherpunk philosophy. Projects like the Linux operating system and the Apache web server flourished, driven by communities that valued collaboration and user empowerment. These initiatives underscored the importance of decentralized control, a principle the cypherpunks championed as essential for preserving freedom in cyberspace. The concept of digital currency also found its roots in the cypherpunk movement. In 1998, Wei Dai introduced B-Money, a proposal for an anonymous, distributed electronic cash system. While B-Money was never implemented, it laid the groundwork for future innovations in cryptocurrency. A decade later, in 2008, the mysterious Satoshi Nakamoto would publish the Bitcoin white paper, a direct descendant of cypherpunk ideals. Bitcoin's decentralized ledger and cryptographic underpinnings echoed the movement's core tenets, heralding a new era of financial autonomy and privacy. The cypherpunks' legacy continued to shape policy debates and technological developments well into the 21st century. The Snowden revelations in 2013, which exposed the extent of global surveillance programs, validated many of the cypherpunks' warnings about government overreach. These disclosures reignited discussions about privacy and the balance of power in the digital age, highlighting the ongoing relevance of the cypherpunks' mission. Today's technology landscape is a testament to the enduring impact of the cypherpunks. Smartphones, social media, and the Internet of Things have transformed the way we live, offering unprecedented convenience and connectivity. Yet they also present new challenges for privacy and security, echoing the dilemmas faced by the cypherpunks decades ago. As artificial intelligence and big data analytics reshape our world, the need for robust cryptographic solutions has never been more critical. The cypherpunks' story is one of visionary foresight and relentless pursuit of digital freedom. Their contributions laid the groundwork for modern cybersecurity practices and inspired generations of technologists and activists. As we navigate the complexities of a hyper-connected world, their commitment to privacy and individual rights serves as a guiding light. The next chapter will explore how these ideals continue to influence contemporary discussions on privacy and security as new technologies emerge and redefine our relationship with the digital realm. With each technological leap, the questions posed by the cypherpunks grow more urgent. How do we protect personal data in an age of surveillance capitalism? What role do individuals play in shaping the future of digital privacy? These are the challenges that lie ahead, as the legacy of the cypherpunks endures in an ever-evolving technological landscape. In the next chapter, we will delve into the contemporary debates surrounding privacy and security in an interconnected world, examining the role of emerging technologies in shaping our digital future. In the next chapter, we will delve into the contemporary debates surrounding privacy and security in an interconnected world, examining the role of emerging technologies in shaping our digital future. But first, we must consider the legacy of the cypherpunks, whose influence casts a long shadow over the digital landscape we navigate today. Their ideas, once considered radical, have become the bedrock of modern discussions on privacy and encryption. The cypherpunks fundamentally changed how we perceive privacy in the digital age. Their vision was not just a series of technical innovations, but a profound philosophical shift. In the 1990s, the burgeoning internet was a new frontier, offering potential for both empowerment and control. The cypherpunks saw this duality and committed themselves to ensuring it leaned towards individual empowerment. Key to this vision was the concept of strong cryptography. Eric Hughes famously declared, "Cypherpunks write code." This was not merely a slogan, but a manifesto. By writing and distributing encryption software, they aimed to democratize privacy. In an era when the U.S. government classified cryptographic software as a munition, this was nothing short of revolutionary. The community they fostered was a melting pot of ideas. Technical experts, libertarians, and enthusiasts alike gathered on what became the cypherpunk mailing list. Names like Julian Assange, Bram Cohen, and even Tim Berners-Lee emerged in these discussions, each contributing to the evolving discourse. This was a proving ground for not just cryptographic tools, but for ideologies that would influence the digital world for decades to come. One cannot discuss the legacy of the cypherpunks without acknowledging their role in the development of cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin, introduced in 2009 by the pseudonymous Satoshi Nakamoto, is often viewed as a direct descendant of cypherpunk ideology. Nakamoto's white paper referenced many of the ideas debated by the cypherpunks, particularly those concerning decentralized control and trustless systems. The connection is more than philosophical. Before Bitcoin, cypherpunk Wei Dai conceptualized B-money in 1998, a framework for anonymous, distributed electronic cash. Similarly, Nick Szabo worked on BitGold, a precursor to Bitcoin. These concepts were discussed and refined within the cypherpunk community, illustrating their tangible impact on cryptocurrency's development. Beyond cryptocurrencies, the legacy is also evident in the realm of online privacy tools. In the early 2000s, the development of tools like Tor, which masks a user's identity and location, drew heavily from cypherpunk principles. Tor's ability to provide anonymity was made possible by the same cryptographic techniques popularized by the cypherpunks. Today, it remains a crucial tool for activists, journalists, and anyone seeking privacy in oppressive regimes. Yet, the cypherpunks' legacy is not without its controversies. Their staunch advocacy for encryption often put them at odds with governmental authorities. This tension was palpable during the so-called crypto wars of the 1990s. Governments feared that strong encryption would hinder law enforcement and national security efforts. One notable battleground was the legal status of cryptographic software as a munition. The U.S. government imposed strict export controls, effectively treating it as a weapon. The cypherpunks, however, argued that this was a fundamental right issue. They believed in the individual's right to privacy and the necessity of encryption to protect it. The resolution of these conflicts was critical. In the late 1990s, legal victories such as Bernstein v. United States helped to redefine cryptographic software as a form of protected speech under the First Amendment. This landmark case paved the way for the widespread use of encryption and underscored the importance of the cypherpunks' advocacy. Their efforts forced a global reconsideration of privacy and security. Today, encryption is a standard feature in communications technology, from messaging apps to online banking. This ubiquity is a testament to the cypherpunks' foresight and determination. However, their legacy is also a reminder of ongoing challenges. As digital surveillance becomes more pervasive, the tension between privacy and security remains unresolved. The same tools that protect privacy can also be used to shield criminal activities, a dilemma that echoes the debates of the crypto wars. The cypherpunks understood the complexities of these issues, advocating for transparency and accountability alongside privacy. They foresaw a future where individuals would need to trust not just the code, but the intentions behind it. Today, as we grapple with questions of digital trust, their legacy provides guidance. It reminds us that technology is not value neutral. It reflects the intentions of its creators. In a world where data is power, the lessons of the cypherpunks are more relevant than ever. Their story is one of perseverance and vision, of individuals who dared to dream of a future where privacy was a right, not a privilege. As we move forward, it is crucial to carry their spirit of innovation and vigilance. While the challenges have evolved, the core ideals remain unchanged. As we transition into the next chapter, we must confront the realities of our interconnected world. Emerging technologies offer both promise and peril. In understanding the cypherpunks' legacy, we gain insights into the paths we might take. The digital future they envisioned is unfolding before us, and so we look to the horizon, ready to explore the intricate balance of privacy and security in our time. In the quiet of a San Francisco living room, those three pioneers, Eric Hughes, Timothy C. May, and John Gilmore, could not have foreseen the vast tapestry their actions would weave across the fabric of the digital age. Their decision was not driven by the allure of profit, but by an unwavering belief in the power of privacy and the sanctity of individual freedom. Cryptography, once the arcane art of mathematicians, became the shield they offered to the world. It was a promise that the digital realm could be both open and secure, where personal freedom was not sacrificed at the altar of technological advancement. The cypherpunks taught us that trust is earned, not assumed. In a world where information became the new currency, they reminded us of the value of safeguarding our most intimate exchanges. They understood that technology held the potential to redefine human interaction, but only if wielded with care and foresight. Their battles with governments and institutions were not just about lines of code or legal precedents. They were about the very essence of what it means to be free in an interconnected world. The cypherpunks saw a future where each individual could stand as their own custodian, unburdened by the watchful eyes of those who wielded power. As the internet continued to evolve, the echoes of their discussions reverberated through the corridors of modern technology. The cryptographic tools they championed laid the groundwork for innovations we now take for granted: cryptocurrencies, secure messaging, and the broader movement for digital rights. The legacy of the cypherpunks is a testament to the human spirit's relentless pursuit of freedom and dignity. It speaks to an innate desire to carve out spaces of autonomy, even amidst the ever-watchful presence of authority. Their story is one of resilience, reminding us that the seeds of today's revolutions are often sown in the quiet defiance of yesterday's idealists. As you rest your eyes and drift into slumber, consider the quiet power of those who dare to imagine a different future. Let their courage be a gentle echo in your dreams, a reminder that even the smallest actions can ripple out to touch the vast expanse of tomorrow. Thank you for joining us on this journey with Satoshi's Lullaby. May your night be filled with peace and the promise of new beginnings. Sleep well.